Today, we are going to talk about what is the job of a realtor. What is it that we do here in this real estate office? How do we help our clients? It's funny to me that it's still kind of a mystery, like all of the things a realtor does to our clients, right? And it's probably because we don't do a good enough job talking about all the things that we do for our clients. So let's start at the top. You're hiring your realtor. What is this person supposed to do for you? What are they earning for the money, the fee that they get? How are they helping you through this process? My favorite analogies are kind of like we're Sherpas. If you're going to climb up Mount Everest, you want to go up there with somebody who's been there before, who knows where you can die, what cliff you can fall off of, what food you should bring, what kind of tools you should bring with you. That is kind of like the realtor. Like, we are the ones who have gone the path ahead of you. We've seen this happen time and time again. We've helped several people to summit the mountain, which is selling or buying your next property. There's two things that we can do as a realtor. We can help you buy a property, or we can help you sell a property. So let's start with the sales side of things. So what is a realtor supposed to do if they're helping you to sell their property? The number one mission, and I'm going to argue is probably the most important, is they're going to help draw a roadmap for you. They're going to help you strategize. In the perfect world, they're going to sit down with you and have an appointment and say, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish here? Once we have a clear picture of why it is you're doing what you're doing and where it is you'd like to be, then we can start strategizing how to get you there. The roof, to the plumbing, to the electrical, to the landscaping, to the painting, to the decor. There's a million things that you can do to a house to either make it easier or harder to sell that property. That is our next job. After we have figured out what the goal is and where you want to end up, we have to get you there. And how do we do that? With our market knowledge. We're out there in the trenches every day, and we know what buyers are looking for in properties. And so we can help coach you to make your property be more palatable to the buyers that are out there in the market today. Does that mean that we're going to flip your house and you're going to have to touch every surface and we're going to redo your bathrooms and your kitchens? Not necessarily. If you want to do that, we can do that. Usually what people want to do is they want to sell their house with the least amount of hassle possible. I have a lot of people that I meet with that they say, Mike, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sell my property as is. We can do that too. We can help you sell your property as is. We'll probably want you to, at the very least, clean it up and get some reports done on it so we know what it is we're selling, but we can sell your property as is. But my favorite thing to do is to help you make some wise choices for a small dollar amount to help zhuzh up your house and make sure that you have the best experience when you roll out onto the marketplace. That's where I really lean in and try to help my clients, is that third path where we're not going to do nothing and we're not going to do everything, but we're going to do the smart things that don't cost that much, but are going to have a bigger impact and help you sell that property in the marketplace of buyers that are out there right now. We're going to have to market that thing. We need everybody to know about it. And we are great at that here at Corcoran Icon Properties. We are going to get you on social media. We are going to get you on all of the portals that all of the buyers are looking at, the Zillows of the world, the realtor.coms, the homes.com, any portal that you can think of, we're going to syndicate that listing to. On top of that, we're going to have open houses because we want to get people out in the flesh to see the property in real life and get some excitement around it. And we're going to advertise all those open houses on the portals. We're going to send out postcards to the neighborhood to let all the neighbors know that this house is for sale. You would be surprised how many times there's a neighbor that is just waiting for a property to come on the market because their brother, sister, uncle, niece, nephew, cousin, friend, whoever really wants to come in this neighborhood. So we want to enlist all of your neighbors as help in trying to sell this property. And so we want to make sure they all know about it too. We're going to hit all of the angles to make sure that every possible buyer in the marketplace knows that your house is for sale. That's how you're going to get the best price. The offers should start coming in. We're going to make sure that we use our skill as a negotiator to make sure that you get the best deal. And how do we accept offers? Should we set an offer date? Should we take them as they come? It's going to depend on the property and the market, which way you decide to go. And so that's another thing that we're going to have to talk about and strategize around. We've negotiated a great deal for you and we're ready to close the deal. But what happens if you forgot to disclose properly? What happens if you didn't tell them about that repair that you made? They find out about it 5 years later and it isn't in any of your disclosure paperwork. I think one of the most important roles as a realtor is to make sure that you keep the money you get as a result of that transaction. And so I'm going to be very diligent and careful as we fill out that disclosure package to make sure that you are fulfilling your duties of disclosure and that you are not going to get caught in a lawsuit later on. When you're dealing with the seller, that is the job. Let's flip the table over and talk about the buy side of things. What's a realtor's job when it comes to representing a buyer? The first part is going to be the same. We're here to strategize. We're here to do an intake. We're here to sit down, find out what it is you're looking for in a home. What are your non-negotiables? What are things that are nice to haves, but you could either take them or leave them, depending on the situation? What's your budget? Where do you work? Where do your kids go to school? What's going on in your life? All of these things are going to matter. So that's phase one, is the strategy session. Phase two is actually finding that property. And it's funny, in today's world, it's very common that my buyers find the property before I do. too. So back in the day, in the 90s, 80s, it was much more incumbent upon the realtor that had access to all of the properties to go find the property for the buyer. Now, the tables have turned and buyers have access to almost all of the homes on the market. And so it's very common because buyers are excited and they're up at like 2 a.m. skimming on their phone, looking through houses on their iPad in bed, you know, and then I'll wake up to a text message that I've got like, hey Mike, what about this one? And then we'll set up the appointment and we'll dig in and we'll start analyzing to see if that property is worth going after. So that's where my value really starts to kick in as a buyer's agent. So when we're ready to make an offer, that is when we go into full gear investigation mode. And so we're gonna look, does this property have any disclosures that have already been repaired that we can review? Local knowledge, just kind of knowing what's going on in the neighborhood and what things are kind of peccadillos. Like, do you know where Arsenic Alley is in Santa Rosa? Do you know where the fault lines are? So we're gonna investigate all of those little natural features that are gonna affect your property. Then we're gonna look at comps. We wanna make sure that you don't overpay for this property. So what have properties similar to it been doing in the marketplace? What have they been selling for? Let's find out and look at that so that you're not making a mistake and you're making a reasonable offer on this property. So after we've analyzed a property and you've decided that you're ready to make an offer on this property, it's gonna be similar to the seller side, right? So we're gonna go back to negotiation. And so we're gonna try to negotiate the best deal possible for you. The strategy on how we're gonna get that property for you at the best price is gonna depend based on the price point, how many buyers are in that level looking at properties that are similar, how much activity is going on with that property. When we were at the open house, were there 500 people there or were there 5? And so all those things are gonna play into how we approach putting in that offer for the best success for you, the client, to purchase it. After that, you've negotiated your offer. We get your offer accepted. Now what do? There may still be additional negotiation that we need to do. We'll need to manage your contingency periods to make sure that your deposit doesn't become in jeopardy. Once you close escrow, the realtor-agent relationship has terminated because the realtor has fulfilled the obligation on the paperwork that we signed together at the beginning of the process. But I will tell you that my work does not end there. If you need resources, if you need help, if you need a vendor after you've moved into your house and you got a leak, or you want to redo the carpeting, or you want to remodel the kitchen, I have resources for all that stuff. I talk to people in trades all day long, every week of the year. And so if you need people like that, please hit me up. I'm a great resource for stuff like that. From the beginning to the end, it's complicated. There's a lot of ins and outs. The most important thing when you're hiring a realtor is that there's a level of trust in the relationship and that you feel simpatico with this person that's going to help you through this process. So in a nutshell, that is how a realtor helps you either buy or sell a property here in Sonoma County. If you have more questions or want to dig into specifics, please hit me up. You can give me a call, you can drop me an email. I'm easy to find. I'll see you out there.